So Peoria is a city located in central Illinois with a population of around 400,000 people in its metropolitan area. For centuries, it was a major industrial hub because of its proximity to the Illinois River. It is pretty much a powerhouse of manufacturing, active in metallurgy, production of chemicals, wire, farm equipment, steel towers, and construction equipment. It was the global and national headquarters of the heavy equipment and engine manufacturer Caterpillar until 2018, when it left the city, taking with it thousands of jobs and plunging the city pretty much into further desolation. It's best known for its red light district, which contained many bars and brothels, which was known as the merry-go-round. These establishments were working open until about the 1990s, when the city began to crack down on crime. Much of the merry-go-round businesses closed, but the prostitutes remained, and Peoria remains the state's second highest rate of prostitution crime, second only to Chicago. It's also the home of penicillin, having been the first city to start mass-producing penicillin after it being first isolated from a moldy cantaloupe found in a Peoria grocery store. It's kind of funny that the drug used to treat syphilis was first produced on a major scale in a city best known for its prolific prostitution problem. The racial demographics are similar to that of many smaller cities in the U.S., about half of the population being white and living in the wealthy parts of town, in this case North Peoria, and then blacks being the second largest percentage of the population at nearly 30%, all living in a relatively small area on the south side. The remaining population consists of Hispanics and Asians. The Hispanic population, though, is likely grossly miscalculated due to the illegal status of many of them. Despite the loss of 88,000 jobs in the span of 5 years, a small portion of the city still remains what could be described as middle class. Homes in the regions in that area range from $80,000 to $150,000. They have nicely paved roads and small but well-maintained parks. The brightest part of my trip was finding a small Russian Orthodox Church where I attended my very first Sunday service. The building consisted of just 3 rooms and 3 other members other than myself and Father Benjamin and his wife. The beauty of the icons, the vast library, the authentically family-like greeting, heartwarming reading service, and the openness of the conversation at the end with every member, including a long talk with the Father himself, left me with almost life-changing sense of connectivity. I don't know if I enjoyed myself so much because of the religious aspect, the feeling of acceptance, or what seems like first time talking with people in the United States who understood that the Ukraine war didn't start with the SMO, and that the U.S. was truly the force of evil that created the attempted genocide of the Russian people in eastern Ukraine. Father Benjamin himself had a vast knowledge of all the events even prior to the Maidan. It was the first time I didn't have to spend an hour explaining to people the intricacies of the conflict, and instead I was able to kind of reflect on the situation itself. As I left, I was showered with affection and given prayer books in both English and Russian, laminated paper photos of the icons, a cross on a necklace to wear, and a beautifully wooden carved icon with the Virgin Mary and St. Nikolai to hang from my rearview mirror to look over me in my travels. On my second day driving around, by chance, I drove into a large pro-Palestinian rally going on. I quickly found a parking spot and joined in, listening to the impassioned speech given by a man named Usama, who had family in Palestine, including some of which who had been killed. When he had concluded his speech, I went over and spoke with him.
Because the U.S. government was stupid. The U.S. government is stupid, more than stupid. It's murderous. Have you prayed without any weapons? As a 2014. As a buffer between us and Russia. Leave it. No one is going to pick on the other one. Just leave it like.
Like I said, thank you.
Thank you very much. Your name?
I'm Jerry.
Jerry. Usama. Nice meeting you, Jerry. So, do you know? Hold on. He's a friend of mine. We work together. I consider him to be like the head of the Russians in Peoria.
Despite the small havens of middle-class America, you find neighborhoods such as these in northern Peoria. Homes are gigantic and range from anywhere in the $1 million to $2.5 million range. What I did find most surprising is that I didn't see one single sign or flag promoting Ukraine whatsoever in any neighborhood. I did find support for gays, this one being at a school having flags and banners, a church, the church also having a Black Lives Matter sign, and local grocery stores with special Passover sections. In stark contrast to the very rich neighborhoods, if you head to the south side where the manufacturing used to be, you see the real face of Peoria. Abandoned homes, homes that look like they should be condemned but still containing people, yards that look like junkyards, vehicles left to rot, and businesses closed forever. As I drove through these areas, I didn't feel in danger at any time. There was often large groups of young black males gathered, but other than a few evil looks, I didn't feel like there was any reason that I shouldn't be in the area for my safety or anyone else's. When you head downtown, you find what used to be manufacturing companies, restaurants, theaters, all again abandoned. Cops having to patrol the area, as you just saw. Derelict buildings and garbage everywhere. There is a small rejuvenation of the area, but it's happening very slowly and with little response from the community. The saddest part of my trip was the number of people who were left homeless. This man asking for any amount of money, even asking if I had pills that he could then sell to other people. You could often find people under the influence of methamphetamines or opiates who would simply pace back and forth, this man for nearly 20 minutes. This man I witnessed at a abandoned old building. Used to be a sporting goods store, but now appears to be his home. He takes something, smokes something, can't tell from the distance I was at, but then proceeds to talk to himself, make jerky movements, and appear somewhat like a zombie or someone mentally deranged. Found this very distressing and sad to watch, but there was nothing I could really do about it. I was able to help one woman, clearly had been addicted to some sort of drug, who needed a ride back home to her apartment. We shared a short conversation, but upon arrival in my vehicle, she had clearly urinated herself.
When you get older, I did this, I done that.
Yeah.
Washed it, now look rituals.
You mind if I have you say hi quick at all?
To you.
I'll record.
Oh.
Just say hi.
Hello.
Thanks for the ride.
Thanks for the ride.
These weren't my only interactions with people. There were several that I wasn't able to catch on tape. One in particular was a man who was high on methamphetamine who was attempting to gain access to a local store and was belligerent and ended up pushing a woman. He had apparently assaulted someone at a gas station up the road as well. I jumped out of my vehicle, ran over and tried to assist the woman, held the guy back while they called the police. She locked the business and I kept an eye out front. When the cops arrived, the woman from the business told them what had happened. The police even were really nice to me. The officer in charge shaking my hand and complimenting me on taking a stand against this. Now, I'm split between how I feel about this. Obviously, there is a very big drug problem in this city, and they need to be doing something about it. Yet, this guy shouldn't have been doing what he was doing. Everyone can make their own choices, and he obviously made the choice to go down a terrible path, which led him to assaulting a woman. All in all, Peoria was a very interesting trip, a very unsettling trip. The amount of drug addiction and homeless was difficult to watch. It was, as any human, it's hard to see other humans like that. Again, the discrepancy between the rich and the poor was obvious. It was nice to see that there was a small semblance of the middle class. The bright light that really shone for me and would let me feel okay going back to Peoria was the Orthodox Church. That would be the only reason I'd go back. Otherwise, the best part about Peoria was leaving. If you're enjoying my videos, I ask you to please, if you're able to, send me a donation. Anything over $10, I'll send you a PDF version of my book, Ukraine Forever Upon. The biggest part is I'm trying to upgrade my recording and audio ability. I'd like to get a GoPro that I can have on me at all times and catch all the small things that I was unable to in Peoria this time, as well as a microphone for the GoPro so the audio is much clearer than what you were able to hear. Thank you to those who can afford to do that, but thank you to those who just watch as well. Be sure to subscribe and like. Thank you.